Hello, it's good to be with you once again on another interesting edition of Grand Sports Center, the first of the week, the Monday morning edition. And I'm sure that you're going to enjoy your time with us. So much happened over the weekend, and we're here to bring them up to you as we try to analyze some of those things that happened and also give information as to what to expect today and within the week. It's a very bumper package, I can assure you, so sit back and relax. I am Donald Agbavobo. I'll quickly go through some of the issues that we'll be discussing today as we get you up to speed with what we have. Super Falcons captain Asisat Oshoala has been named the best African women player of the decade. That's the decade from 2011 to 2020. So in the last 10 years, she's been the best female player in Africa. So she's the statistic group, and we shall be talking about that as we look at the career of this young lady who has actually brought so much accolade to Nigeria and also personal accolade to herself rather. We have the Nigerian Professional Football League. 9 matches were played over the weekend with some very interesting results. The constant thing is that Eimba remained top of the table because they defeated Plateau United by 2-1, and of course we had two very interesting away victories. Atland of Owerri went to Lagos to beat MFM by 2-1. Before this last weekend, Atland had not won any away match, and they did very well. Kwara United also went to Akure to beat Sunshine Stars, which shows that Nigerian Professional Football League has really come of age. You don't know what to expect. There's no more home invisibility, if I may use that word, as anything could happen, just like we have in other climes in the English Premier League and other leagues in Europe. So we shall be looking at the matches, last weekend matches in the Nigerian Professional Football League. Also, the CHAN, talking about the African Nation Championship for home-based national teams, has ended in Cameroon, with Morocco emerging champions for the second consecutive time. You may remember 2 years or 3 years ago rather, in Morocco, they hosted and won. They beat Nigeria in the finals of that competition. But this time around, Nigeria was not even there, and the Moroccans went as far as beating Mali in the final, showing that their victory on home soil 3 years ago was no fluke. We shall be looking at that championship. And also in tennis, the Australian Open has finally started, with Serena Williams getting a bid for a record 24th Grand Slam, up to a very flying start as she defeated the German Laura Singmund in just 56 minutes. 6-1, 6-1 it ended. And we shall be looking at some of the matches that have been played so far, especially in the women game. And then to the English Premier League, where the big one happened on Sunday. Manchester United beat Liverpool 4-1 as the longer news. But then it may have put to rest speculations or controversies as to if Manchester City can still go all the way. I think at this point, at this juncture, we can be rest assured that they're as good as having one hand on the trophy already. Although, as we always say in football, anything can happen. But then the convincing win they recorded over Liverpool yesterday actually tells that they are in for a serious business this time around. You also look at that match, another match that played in the English Premier League. You also look at the Serie A and the fact that AC Milan bounced back to the top of the table with 4-0 victory over Crotone. And in this La Liga, Barcelona are now second on the table after beating Real Betis 3-2 yesterday. Also, in Formula One, the Formula One season will start in the next 2 months, but the surprising thing is that Lewis Hamilton is yet to be tied down to a new contract by his team, Mercedes. His contract ran out at the end of last year, and given the fact that he's been the best driver in recent times, and he looks set to also win the Formula One championship this year again, having swept every available competitions or Grand Prix that they had last year. If you may recall, last year he equaled Michael Schumacher's 7 Grand Slam record win of 7 championship victories, and he's set to go all the way again this time around. So surprising thing that Mercedes have not deemed it fit to tie him down the new contract and making him available to other teams. But the same negotiations are still going on, so we hope to see what comes out of it. We'll be talking about this, and of course Super Eagles Watch, where we keep you informed about the performance of Nigerian players with their various clubs in Europe. And of course, today is sports history, where we tell you about some of those important events or landmark events that happen on this particular day, the 8th of February over the years. So sit back and enjoy yourself with us. I have with me for today, interestingly, we shall be just two of us. Austin Arome is not available for today, so we shall be doing it together. I'm talking about myself and Double B. Blessing Bassi.
It's good to be here.
I hope you had a very nice weekend.
Yes, I did.
Yes, because your weekend, whether it was nice or not, I'm telling you that today's program promises to be very interesting. So we'll definitely be doing it together to ensure that the viewers out there enjoy every minute of it. We'll take a break now, and when we return, we'll go straight into the main issues of the day. You're welcome back, and we start right away with Asisat Oshoala's story that she has been named as the best African woman player of the decade. The decade runs, talking about the decade from 2011 to 2020, and this is coming from International Federation of Football History and Statistics. Well, Blessing, Asisat Oshoala has continued to break records. We know that she's been among the top players in Africa, but this is a new one, been rated the best in the last 10 years in Africa. It shows that in the last 10 years, she's been the best performing African women player.
Yes, she has been. She has been remarkable anywhere she is. She does very well, especially at Barcelona. We see how much she has contributed so much, especially in putting Barcelona at that top spot. With the Super Falcons, we see, the records she has taken so far, and wherever she is, she makes an impact, and good one for Asisat Oshoala. And I just wish, there are more female, footballers, or female legends, female footballers who will, also trade the part of Asisat Oshoala.
Yes, indeed, and that's very important. And for a young female footballer listening to us and hearing of this news, this should sound as a motivation, right?
Yes, this should sound as a motivation, because we need to, although I think everything boils down to we going back to our grassroots, bringing out players, especially talents that they are rich. Female and male footballers, especially the female aspects, if we can, start grooming them at this point, it will obviously make an impact, because as they get to play, football, international clubs will see them, and, it will also help. Like Asisat, she has played for multiple clubs across the world. So if we have the opportunity to group our female footballers, stars, it will obviously go a long way.
Yes, I'm talking about what Blessing said, multiple clubs across the world. It all started right here in Nigeria, so she didn't fall from the sky. She wasn't born abroad. She started right here in Nigeria, where she played for Rivers Angels. She won 4 Nigerian League titles with Rivers Angels, and then she played for Arsenal, and where she won the English FA Cup in 2014-2015. And she moved to China, where she won the Chinese Women's Super League in 2017 with Dalian Quanjian, and then to Barcelona, where she presently is. She won the league with Barcelona last year, and they got as far as the finals of the UEFA Champions League. That talked about the women version, making her the first African woman to play in the final of that competition. She has played for the Super Falcons, won 3 African Women Championship with the Super Falcons, named African Footballer of the Year on 4 occasions. She has played in 2 World Cups, and she has been named twice as the best player in the African Women Championship, and so top scorer. Is there anything left for Asisat to achieve?
Well, she's basically
Just to
gotten
win the World
everything.
Cup, right?
Yes, just to win the World Cup.
And that's not possible?
Well, it's very possible. You know, judging by where she is right now, she's known, when it comes to Nigeria, she's known as the best. So if there's every possibility that we get to the World Cup, I think it will also boost our ability of winning an award one way or the other, because she's exceptionally good.
And what does this, how do you think this award should impart on the Nigerian game? Looking at our Nigerian Women League, not so much attention. Kudos to the organizers, the Aisha Fallow Days and our group, for doing all they can to bring it to the spotlight. We know how much effort they are putting in. And we know the kind of disinterest that Nigerians have in Nigerian Women League. But then they are not deterred by that. They are doing everything to ensure that the league is popularized. This kind of news will definitely also be a kind of motivation for them to see, to know that from this league, an Asisha Oshola came out, so they can also get another Asisha Oshola from the same league someday, right?
Yeah, sure. That's to show that we have, we can build talent. We have talent. We've got it, you know, right here in Nigeria. You know, that's to also kudos to Aisha Fallow, because, like you said, she's really putting, you know, more effort and trying as much as possible that the female league, you know, kicks off, and the female league, you know, is consistent. You know, that way we'll get to see a lot of inbuilt or built talents. You know, that way we'll get to pick one or two people who have, you know, who are trying to, you know, do very well, especially when it comes to female football, and also trading the part of Aziza Dashola.
Yes, Nigeria has always had superstar female players. We had the Mercy Akide, we had the Perpetua Okocha, and then Aziza Oshoala. So maybe someday we'll get to line up the three of them and say which of them has been the best ever for Nigeria. Because at different eras, they actually took up the mantle of spearheading the Nigerian women national, talking about the Falcons. So at some point it was Mercy Akide doing it, and then Perpetua took over, and now there's Asita Oshoala. So we know that the next person that will take over is already waiting in the wings, because, like you mentioned, Blessing, there are many talented female players in Nigeria. So congratulations to Asita Oshoala. We wish that she continues to excel in her career, and also bring it to bear on the Nigerian national team, which we also hoping we'll get to experience and also enjoy some of these superlative performances. We'll take a break now, and when we return, we shall talk about the Nigerian Professional Football League, where Eyimba continue to maintain their top position on the log. Welcome back to the Grand Sports Center, and moving on, next is Nigerian Professional Football League, and Eyimba have continued their good run of form, which has seen them top in Nigerian Professional Football League in the last 2 weeks. And Saturday they did it again. They beat defending champions Plateau United by 2-1. Tosi Omoyole with a brace in that match. And I will just go over the results of all the matches that were played over the weekend. We had MFM lose at home to Atlant 2-1. Jigawa Golden Stars beat Adamawa United by 1-0. Enugu Rangers pipped Warri Wolves 1-0. Sunshine Stars 1, Kwara United 2, another away win. And Aqua United 3, Katsina United 0. Right, while Lobby Stars and Wiki Tourists ended it all square 0-0. Blessing, given the good run of form that Eyimba have been on in recent times, and playing in Aba against Plateau United, the result, the victory was not unexpected, right?
Yeah, the victory was not unexpected, if you'd ask me, because Eyimba, looking at Eyimba, we expected, you know, more from Eyimba. You know, when Eyimba comes to the field of play, you know, what we expect from Enyimba is that 3 points, and they obviously did it against Plateau United 2-1. You know, an impressive win against Plateau United. Plateau United at the same time were the ones that obviously, you know, stopped Nasarawa United unbeaten run.
Exactly.
And they felt it's going to be like that against Enyimba, but no, Enyimba said no.
We have to,
yes, we have to maintain that top spot.
And one thing about teams like Enyimba is that when you allow them to go top, it's difficult to knock them off the perch.
Yes, it's actually difficult, and I'm feeling like the cup is the East are beginning to smell the League Cup at this point.
But these are still early days. We're talking about yes. 9, and of course, another interesting result was Atlant going to Lagos. Before now, Atlant had not won any match away. I'm not sure they even recorded a draw, but because the away form has been very, very poor. Then on Sunday they went to Lagos, beat MFM by 2-1. The Agege Township Stadium. A good result for Atlant, right?
Yes, I'm very happy for Atlant. Obviously, on the road, Atlant has, you know, but the game against MFM, although I expected MFM, you know, to do very well in that game, judging by the fact that they lost their last game. But at the same time, I'm glad Atlant is able to pick up, you know, a lot of things are probably making them to be, you know, be active this time around. Probably we'll get to know that.
But there's also a great side to it. We understand that, well, unconfirmed reports that the jersey they played in, they used biro to write the number on the sides. And you know, we're talking about Atlant initially that they were owed months of salaries, yes. And they were paid 2 months, and before they went to play Plateau United. And when they lost that match, when they came back, like they received the alert and they won their next match. Then probably there was an alert before they went to play to Lagos to beat MFM. But then if that story is true, it's not too good. It's not a good advert for Nigerian football, because the level we're in now, Nigerian league is being showed live, and people are seeing it world over. So that kind of, if it's true, that should be the last time it should happen. Well, moving on, we have another away win was in Akure, where Kwara United beat Sunshine Stars. Kwara United, we've been talking about them in recent times. They've been very, very impressive.
Yes, Kwara United, you know, beating Sunshine Stars, especially, you know, away, it's a good one. You know, I expected Sunshine Stars to obviously do very well in that game, but Kwara United really proved that they're really in, you know, to get that all-important 3 points, and they did it against Sunshine Stars.
For Sadiq Yusuf, the Sunshine Stars striker, who is the top scorer in the league, he scored again. He was one that scored the long goal for Sunshine Stars, bringing his tally to 7 this season. That's 7 in 9 matches. I don't think even the Lewandowskis of this world have scored 7 goals in 9 matches. But this is actually an impressive run for him.
Yes, an impressive run for him. That's to show you how much talent we have, you know, especially when it comes to the NPFL. Sadiq is an exceptional player, you know, and he has proven to be one of the best when it comes to the NPFL. And the fact that he, you know, he has this push for goal, this push to always, you know, make a mark, you know, at every game.
Another exceptional player, talking about, since we're in the period of exceptional players, like Blessing has just started. So let's continue the exceptional scenario. Is Eddie Freke F. Young of Akwa United. He scored a goal and made another one in Akwa United's 3-0 victory over Katsina United. Akwa United showing that they really have it. They started very slowly this season. They've been having slim victories, then recording draws, then not been too particularly, they are not particularly good away. But they beat Katsina United, who also their poor run away continued. Katsina United have virtually won all their own matches, but away, I don't think they've been able to get any good result away. And they continue this weekend, 3-0 to Akwa United.
Well, Akwa United, obviously, they're a very good team. The thing with Akwa United is just that unity. You know, they've got the best player up front that could put in the goals. But at the same time, there's the one thing with winning competitions is, you know, if your teams are together, and that's the thing about Akwa United. And if they've got that, they'll obviously, you know, be winning the competition as it goes.
Well, bless you. We could talk and talk and talk about Nigerian Professional Football League. We have so much to talk on the program, so we won't dwell too much longer on the Nigerian Professional Football League. We'll just give you to that results. Like we said earlier, Jikoba Golden Stars beat Adamawa United 1-0. Adamawa United's poor run of form continued. They occupied the last position on the table, and their situation, their problem does not seem to be abating very soon, because they've been losing both at home and away. The Enugu Rangers pipped Warri Wolves by 1-0. Warri Wolves too have not been too good at away, and it's continued again in Enugu this weekend. While Lobby Stars and Wiki Tourists played out a 0-0 draw. Wiki Tourists begin to show that they are not an easy team to crack. As you may recall, they are the ones that ended Rivers United unbeaten run, and they've gone to Akwa United about 2 weeks ago, played out a draw there, and now they went to Makurdi again, which is seen as a lion's den, and they came up with another draw. So Wiki Tourists, should watch out for them as well. For today, we have 2 matches that we play today in the Nigerian Professional Football League. We have FC Ifeanyi taking on Kano Pillars, and Rivers United taking on Nasarawa United. That is the match of the week, because these are 2 teams that at some point have been on top of the table. Then now, though they are no longer there, but Rivers United have opportunity of going back to second if they win tonight's match, and also Nasarawa United, who have been knocked off the top 4, also have opportunity of going back there should they win. So quickly, best in this one, you must comment on it. Rivers United, Nasarawa United.
Well, Rivers United, Nasarawa United, a very big one if you'd ask me. You know, Nasarawa United obviously have lost 2 games, like you said. I mean, they were competing. In fact, they were on top of the table at the point.
Unbeaten. For about 5 weeks or so, they were unbeaten.
Exactly, until Plateau United obviously ended up beating them. But that does not mean they should, keep, losing games. I mean, it's the title, or how do I put it? The points, to get into that top is just very little. If they win their game, they'll go as far as to the top 4. And they really need to win their game against Rivers United. At the same time, Rivers United are on form. You can't stop the fact that they won't, and they're playing at home. You can't, stop the fact that I think I'll put my money on Rivers United, because they honestly, they have every chance.
Yes, indeed. Rivers United have shown this season that they have what it takes, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. One other interesting fact about the matches played today, is that they'll be played at the same venue. If SC Ifeanyi play their matches at the Adoke and Mesomeka Stadium in Port Harcourt, and that's where Rivers United also play their matches. So the SC Ifeanyi Kano Pillars match will start by 2 in the afternoon. Then by 4, we have the Rivers United, Nasarawa United match. So these 2 matches for today will be played at the same venue. We'll take a break now, and when we return, we shall be talking CAF football, as the Confederation of African Football CHAN, that's African Nations Tournament, ended yesterday in Cameroon, with Morocco emerging champions once again. Welcome back to the Grand Sports Center, and moving on, the African Nations Championship CHAN ended yesterday in Cameroon, and Morocco once again emerged champions. You may recall 3 years ago, they hosted the competition and won. Then it was Nigeria they played in the finals, and they beat Nigeria in the final. But this time around, Nigeria was not even there, and they went all the way, and they won in emphatic style. They beat Mali 2-0. They scored a total of 14 goals, and considered just 3 goals along the way. And this striker, watch out for his name in the next couple of years. Sofiane Boufitini is the Moroccan striker, a match top scorer with 6 goals. Blessing, we could say the CHAN Championship is not one that people give too much attention to, but whether we like it or not, it showcases the best of African players, especially those plying their trade within the continent. And for Morocco to have won it in the last 2 editions, back to back, speaks volume of how much developmental plans they have in place. Was this a surprise for you?
Well, it wasn't a surprise for me. You know, it's just unfortunate that Nigeria wasn't part of it. They didn't qualify, you know, but I wasn't surprised that Morocco had it, you know, just because, you know, they've built, you know, their youth team. Obviously, this is a country that have decided to, you know, concentrate on their country football, their youth team, because they obviously know how important it is, you know, to them. If Nigeria can obviously take a leap from all these, especially African countries who, despite the COVID-19 issue, still decide to play their league games, you know, following the health protocols of COVID-19, irrespective, you know, instead of giving one excuse to another. You know, the basic thing is the fact that they know what they want, you know, and they know what they are aiming at, you know, and that's the more reason why they have a good league and they've gotten to this point. Like, so it's not it didn't come as a surprise to me.
You just mentioned the fact they have a good league, indeed, because for the league, for them to have been able to call on this kind of players that have won this competition back to back, it shows that the league is strong. But then on the continent, their teams don't actually, when we get to CAF competitions, fine, they get to the finals, they get to the semi-finals, the Raja Casablancas of this world, they do that, the Royal Armed Forces of Rabat of this world. But when you talk about teams that have won African trophies, both Champions League and the Confederations Cup, look at the Egyptian teams, look at the Tunisian teams, and sometimes the Algerian teams. So one would have thought that those are the countries that will be dominating CHAN, Egypt, Tunisia, but then it has not been the case. So there must be something the Moroccans are doing right.
Yeah, obviously, you know, I wouldn't blame the fact that countries like Egyptians are not part of it. They've got the CAF, you know, competitions ahead of them. They are, you know, major competitions.
Yeah, the point actually is that if their teams could be dominating CAF competitions, they could draw from those players, from those teams, sure, players that will prosecute for them. Maybe the Moroccans, probably, I'm just speculating, give very good attention to CHAN, and they see CHAN as an opportunity to actually make a mark. Because in the other, the main AFCON, for where it's open for everybody, very professional players, they've only won it once, if I'm not mistaken. That was 1976, when they hosted in 76. They only won it once. And when you talk about the top teams in Africa based on AFCON wins, you don't see them at all, because you have the likes of Egypt, Cameroon, and Nigeria, you know, dominating somehow. Then probably they have seen CHAN as an opportunity for them to also show that they can be called upon as the best in this area. That's why we've seen them win it back to back.
Sure, they probably know what they are good at, you know, like you said, you know, and CHAN was the best move for them, and that's the more reason why, you know, they've concentrated it. And now, you know, they are making the papers, and, you know, everyone is beginning to see that, oh, Moroccan, you know, are still there when it comes to, you know, football, are still very strong as usual when it comes to football. Kudos to Morocco.
Yes, and any lessons to draw from them, because former Super Eagles goalkeeper that's with Plateau United now, Dele Ajiboye, was part of the CHAN team the last time out that lost to Morocco in the final. He's saying that Nigeria should follow the Moroccan blueprint in terms of grooming home-based players. We already know that part of the fallout from the match against Sierra Leone, when Nigeria failed to beat Sierra Leone, was that subsequently home-based players will be invited to the Nigerian national, to the camp, ahead of the foreign-based players, maybe a week or so before the foreign-based players come in, so that at every point in time, there's a pool of home-based players in camp, and give opportunity to also fight for a place in the team. And this is a development that came out of the last poor performance of the Super Eagles. So it's not yet been implemented. It's because the Eagles' next match will be in March. So we hope that in March we'll have a pool. So is this one way that we can actually do it for us to get it right?
The thing is, if you'd ask me, we all know what is right, you know. Imagine Dele obviously coming out and saying, they know that if we have, we know we have talent, you know, and we have home-based players that even without the international, you know, teams and players coming, we know that even these home-based players can make a mark even for Nigeria anytime, any day. We know if Dele can come all the way from after the competition, come back and say that, okay, if these home-based players are very important. I mean, bringing the idea alone, it's more than enough.
Yeah, that's because you borrow from you borrow good ideas and you follow people who are doing it right. Morocco seems to be doing it right, so if they have a blueprint, why don't we just follow it as well and see? Those you may not have to follow it hook, line, and sinker. You may have to tinker it a bit to be in line with your own situation, because the realities on ground in Nigeria will be different from realities on ground in Morocco. So somehow you have to do a bit of tinkering with the blueprint. But then the major crux of the blueprint should be something that should be implementable anywhere. So, well, we'll not be dwelling too much on that. Congratulations to Morocco, and unfortunately Nigeria was not there. And I know that with the way things are going, with what I said earlier concerning latest plans by the NFF to ensure that whenever the Super Eagles have a match, home-based players will be invited. We also go a long way to help us build a very strong home-based team. And going by what we are seeing in the Nigerian league so far, I'm very sure that we should be able to raise a very good home-based team that will take part in the next CHAN, wherever it's taking place. So we'll take a break now. When we return, we'll talk tennis. The Australian Open has finally gotten underway. After all the speculations, the uncertainties, it has started, and results and some players have already started showing the fact that they're ready to go all the way. One of them, Serena Williams, who is chasing a record 24th Grand Slam title. She got off the mark, demolishing Germany's Laura Siegemund in just 56 minutes. 6-1, 6-1 is ended in a match. We shall be talking about this and the Australian Open after this break. Welcome back to the Grand Sports Center, and moving on, the Australian Open is very much on the way after all the speculations. Blessing, first and foremost, it's a sigh of relief, right, for the organizers, because there's been so much speculation, so much talk about why the tournament should not hold, why it should be postponed. Even players have been complaining, players, fans, organizers, the issue of COVID-19. Players have to be in isolation for about 72 players had to be in isolation for 14 days, and well, finally it started.
Well, I'm glad finally it has started, fully, because everyone at the point thought that the Australian Open is not going to start because of the fact that, players are, one COVID-19 issue to another, players are in isolation. Although we all know that it obviously might not turn out well for some, and it might turn out well for some. Like Serena Williams, for instance. I mean,
she started very, very well.
During the warm-up, she was complaining of shoulder injuries, and obviously at the end of the day, she's being impressive at the Australian Open. So
because the reports we heard is that there was no sign of that shoulder injury. Were they trying to insinuate that there was more to it?
Exactly, it's just a play out, something.
Because within a few days, that shoulder was healed perfectly well.
She did more than expected.
Somebody that comes off shoulder injury just a few days ago.
Honestly, anyway, but I'm glad
she started very well. Yes. Same with US Open champion Naomi Osaka too. She had a convincing start with a 6-1, 6-2 win over Russia's Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. And of course, but former champion of the Australian Open, Angelique Kerber, who is now ranked 23rd in the world, she was knocked out in the first round. So that's the first major casualty. And she was among those people that were on quarantine in isolation for 14 days that could not train. So it shows that some of those players that are in that group, they may not be in the best condition to perform.
Yes, so sad for her at this point. Well, like I said, it's the situation might not turn out, well for them, because they just had like few days, to the competition proper, and It's just unfortunate that the event have started and she wasn't, like you said, fit enough for the Australian Open. So.
Yes, so much about the Australian Open. We know that the men's game is also there, but the good thing is that it has started, and for it to start, that means it must end. That's one thing. So kudos to the organizers and also the International Tennis Federation. At least the first Grand Slam of the year is holding. Unlike what happened last year, when some Grand Slam had to be postponed. Wimbledon was not played last year altogether. First time since World War II it happened. So the way things are going, it's like organizers of all the competitions are hell-bent on holding them, and to ensure that there will be no more postponement. So it's good to know that the Australian Open is up. We shall be updating you with latest happenings out there in Melbourne. Before we take another break, we could talk tennis. We could talk basketball. The Nigerian Basketball Federation are still preparing very hard, because who wouldn't prepare very hard when you see the group you have been put in, especially for the Falcons. The Tigers, sorry. They have been grouped alongside the world number 1 USA, the world number 5 France, and the world number 10 Japan, who are also the host nation. So all the 3 teams that will come up against in their group matches are definitely teams that are capable of beating them. But like still, you never say the attitude of Nigeria tells us that the Tigers, and given the way they qualified, could actually spring a surprise. And for them to spring a surprise, the Federation also has to ensure that the players are up to it by ensuring adequate preparation. As we talk, as we speak, I think that they have a training camp in Atlanta where the players have been for 10 days. It's to end today, actually, 8th of February. So they've been together with their coach and everything. Good get together. So preparations have started, and that's what the Vice President of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, Babs Ogunade, is saying today. The preparations are on, and they have started, and they are not deterred by the fact that they are coming up against some of the best teams in the world. We'll be talking about the chances of the Tigers in the Olympics, but then the way the Basketball Federations are going about it with a very positive attitude, I think, is the best way to do. The best thing to do, rather.
Yeah, it is the best thing to do. I think it's going to be a very interesting one, judging by the fact that I'm happy, at least they've been training, for this. They're competing against the best in the world. So,
yeah, after when you get to the court, it's the same number of players.
Exactly, and those best in the world, obviously, is to say, start from somewhere, and they're at this stage, at this point. So I feel the Tigers, to me, are the best so far in the world, because the most important thing is to, have a proper preparations, ahead of the competitions, have a positive spirit, because there's no harm, because we have what it takes, to beat the likes of USA, France.
Yeah, talking about Japan, USA, yes. World number 1. At the last FIBA Women World Cup, Nigeria played USA. We led for 3 quarters. And at some point in the 4th quarter, the Tigers were leading. But the experience and the prowess of the United States now came to be in the last quarter, when they now won a very slim margin. So if we could do that then, that was a year or 2 ago, and then with the way the team has improved in recent times, obviously we could do better at the Olympics, right?
Yes, we could do better at the Olympics, irrespective, because we are playing at this with the same number of girls. They are same, female players.
And we have a lot of players playing in the WNBA right now. I'm talking about women NBA right now, and more have joined the team since last time the team played USA. So obviously it's a stronger team than the Falcons, that the Tigers. I keep on saying the Falcons. The Tigers are taken to the Olympic Games, and given the way the NBBF is preparing this training camp they had in Atlanta, and we've not been used to it, this kind of thing. It just goes to tell you the level the NBBF is taking the preparation, and I must say kudos to them. Still talking basketball, this time from the NBA. We understand that the All-Star game is being planned for March 7, but it's not going down well with many players. Somebody last week came around to first of all voice his discontent over the fact that the playoff will be played at all, given the COVID-19 pandemic. And then more players than LeBron James, I would say the biggest of them all, also expresses discontent. Then now more players, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who we know has been the last couple of seasons been the most valuable player in the NBA. Then Kawhi Leonard and James Harden also have all joined. So if these big players are criticizing the fact that the All-Star games will take place any point, why are the organizers still going ahead with it?
Well, obviously, it's just the reason why they go ahead with it probably to make, to make money. But this, let's be honest with ourselves. I get the fact that fans want to watch, top players like this, watch their games. But at the same time, their health is wealth, COVID-19 is here. Their players, have obviously played. The NBA is going is going on at the moment, so players need to relax a little bit, and at least prepare for their next
Yes,
game.
it's always an issue when it comes to balancing the issue of revenue in sports and the health of players. Not only basketball, even in football, we understand that the UEFA Champions League won't even expand it to include more teams. And look at what is happening in the English Premier League as well. The call for 5 substitutions as against maintaining the status quo of 3 substitutions all revolves around still wanting to keep it in line with agreements with sponsors, and because at the end of the day, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. But then the health of the players too needs to also be considered, because the players are not there to play. There will be no tune for the piper to dictate, if I use that word. So we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll go back to football and talk through what happened in the English Premier League yesterday, and of course other leagues in Europe. You're welcome back to the Grand Sports Center, and moving on, the English Premier League was another threw up a very, very interesting result yesterday that many did not even expect, though it promised to be a very, very interesting match from word go, but the outcome was one that people never expected, because it ended in a way that if you ask many fans, even neutrals, wouldn't have thought that Liverpool would go down 4-1 at Anfield to Manchester City. But that was what happened yesterday. Blessing, did you see it coming?
Well, I did.
We know that Liverpool have had a very poor run of form in recent times, though. But then, did you see it that they'll lose as much as 4-1 to Manchester City?
Well, I smelled before the game proper. I smelled at least a draw, okay. But when it started going, and somehow Manchester City found their way. The first goal, the second goal, and all summed up to 4 goals.
But was it about Manchester City's capability or abilities as a team, or rather due to some silly mistakes on the part of Liverpool, especially goalkeeper?
Well, I may not say silly mistakes. I might say it's as a result of the players at this point. Both teams are having injury concerns. I know the likes of Liverpool. If you obviously see what they use, especially in their midfield, it's obviously not supposed to be that way. I really do not know why Jurgen Klopp had to use those players at this point. And if you look at Man City has been impressive, of late. I know they've also have injury players who
Aguero had COVID-19.
Yes, and Kevin
De Bruyne.
Yes, and
but the good thing about Manchester City is that in the absence of Kevin De Bruyne, other players like Ika Gundogan have stepped up. But Liverpool's issue has been the fact that the injuries have been too many. Not making excuses for them. Where does this now leave the title race? Is Manchester United and Manchester City as good as running away with the title?
I think if you'd ask me, Manchester City is as good as running away with the title at this point. I know there are games, still to be played, but if you look at Manchester City's form at this point, they are not taking chances, and they still have a game in hand.
So, well, we'll see how it goes. Another match that was played yesterday saw Chelsea beat Sheffield United 2-1, and Thomas Tuchel considered his first goal. Chelsea considered their first goal under Thomas Tuchel in 4 games. And, but then they still were able to grind out the result. 2-1 it ended. This is a new look Chelsea team. Can we say that the sack of Lampard has been justified? Because since he left, they've not actually had the bad result, apart from the 0-0 draw they had against Wolves in their first match when Tuchel took over.
Well, kudos to Thomas Tuchel, if you ask me, because even with the fact that he hasn't had his run of form has been impressive, but at the same time he's still complaining of the fact that Chelsea, there's a lot to be done.
Yes, he has to complain, but this is not his team. He just inherited the team. So maybe from next season, you'll begin to see his team take shape. So, but then he's doing very well with what he has at his disposal.
Yeah, he is doing very well with what he has at the moment. This is the same Chelsea side that defeated Manchester United. I mean, kudos to Chelsea, because it's not really easy.
Yeah, against the side battling relegation, because they're playing at home. It's very, very difficult.
Yes.
Tottenham Hotspur bounced back to winning ways after 3 straight losses, and they beat West Brom 2-0. Harry Kane came back from injury to score. In the last few matches he has not played, Tottenham has not scored. So is Tottenham gradually becoming a one-man team?
Well, probably that's the word I'll use at this point, because I see no reason why, if Harry Kane is not there, Tottenham cannot score, cannot win games. And if Harry Kane came back, and Tottenham is winning games. I mean, I'm trying to just see it from the fact that why Jose Mourinho is really, having to use, having to have that mindset of the fact putting
relying so much.
Relying so much on Harry Kane, and he has this pattern that I can't really get
so
it.
If Kane is not playing, no other person can rise up to the occasion.
Honestly.
Well, it's up to him. Other matches saw Leicester play out a 0-0 draw with Wolverhampton Wanderers, while on Saturday earlier we have seen Aston Villa beat Arsenal 1-0. Arsenal's woes continues. This time around there was no red cards, no referee to blame. Burnley beat Brighton. I mean, they played 1-1 with Brighton, and these are 2 teams that are beating Liverpool at home this week. So it was a battle of 2 teams who are beating Liverpool. And Newcastle bounced back as well to winning ways. They beat Southampton by 3-2. I think better than the 9-0 Southampton lost to. So they are now having a better result. So maybe next match you'll see them win. Fulham and West Ham settled for a 0-0 draw, while Manchester United and Everton played a 3-3 draw. That was how it went down at the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. In Spain, Barcelona fought back from a goal down to win against Real Betis 3-2. Lionel Messi came off the bench in the 56 minutes to score the first goal, 3 minutes after coming on. And, well, we keep on saying that Barcelona is evolving as a team. No longer the one-man show, Messi, but he keeps on telling us that, showing us every week that Barcelona is still about Messi. And if Messi should leave at the end of the season, it will take them some time to recover. What do you think?
Well, like you said, Barcelona cannot obviously deal with Messi, but their game, if you look at the game they played
against Real Betis,
you realize that even because Messi obviously came in from the bench, and Barcelona obviously did well, even before Messi came in.
But they were down by a long goal.
Yes.
And they could not find the net until he came in. Anyway, that's the debate for another day. In other matches, on Sunday, we saw Real Sociedad beat Cadiz by 4-1. Atletico Bilbao and Valencia played out a 1-1 draw. Osasuna and Eibar ended it 2-1. Osasuna continued their resurgence. I was saying it last week that Osasuna were down, bottom of the table, some 3-4 weeks back, but now they've gone up and they've had series of victory. They continued again yesterday, beat Eibar 2-1. And earlier on Saturday, we had Levante and Granada play out a 2-2 draw. Huesca lost at home to Real Madrid, who won by 2-1, bouncing back from the 2-1 loss to Levante the previous week. Elche, Villarreal settled for 2-2. That match was actually live on this channel, Grand Sport Extra, on Saturday. We saw Elche and Villarreal play out a 2-2 draw. Sevilla defeated Getafe by 3-0. And in the Italian Serie A, yesterday, Benevento and Sampdoria settled for a 1-1 draw. AC Milan defeated Crotone 4-0. Udinese beat LS Verona 2-0. Parma defeated Bologna beat Parma 3-0, while Lazio pipped Cagliari 1-0. In Italian Serie A, we're looking at, earlier on Saturday, Inter Milan had gone on top when they beat Fiorentina by 2-0. They went top of the table, and Milan bounced back, beat Crotone 4-0 on Sunday to return back to the table. So the two Milan teams are going neck to neck.
They both don't want to take chances, at this point. They are just, trying to fight for that top spot, but I kudos to Inter Milan. It was not an easy one. The fact that you lost the last one and you obviously bounced back that's to show that you are obviously at that title race and you don't want to.
I'm looking at Ibrahimovic. He scored 2 goals at the age of 39. 13 goals this season already. He doesn't want to stop, right?
No, he doesn't.
He's not slowing down at all.
He's not slowing down at all. He's not slowing down. That's to show you, how much impact and how much, interest that love for football, no matter the age he is at this point. I don't think he's even looking at his age at this point. What he's interested in is to enjoy, the
exactly.
game of
At
football.
39, kudos to him. Somebody was comparing him with Michael Bradley, who played in his, I think, 4th or so in the Super Bowl finals yesterday, and he's 43 years old. And then we're looking at Ibrahimovic in AC Milan at 39, still doing it at the highest level. With 13 goals this season already. He scored a brace yesterday in the 4-0 rout of Crotone. So much about Italian Serie A and so much about our league roundup. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll see. We don't have much time anymore, and we'll see what we can do with Super Eagles Watch to let you know what's happening with Super Eagles players out there for their various clubs in Europe. Welcome back to the Grand Sports Center. As we wrap it up on the show today, we'll take Super Eagles Watch. Let's quickly see what we have. Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa has been in England for the past 1 week with interest coming from West Brom. So at some point we thought he was going to join West Brom, but he's said to have even done medical with West Brom, which he passed. But then reports has come in that 3 other teams are also interested in his signature. So he's a free agent, so he can join any club at any time. Doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a transfer. I mean, they just have to be a transfer window open. Whether that transfer window is open or not, he's free to join any team. So that's why he's still in the market. So we have 3 other teams apart from West Brom showing interest: Burnley, Southampton, and Brighton. So either of these teams, one team, even the former team in Russia, CSK Moscow, is also showing interest. I guess he should be able to, but he has spoken about his interest returning back to England to play, having deemed his first experience as a failure. He wants to make up for it by going back to England to prove himself. So either of these teams could end up signing Ahmed Musa. We'll keep our fingers crossed and see where he finally ends up. Victor Osimhen continues his rehabilitation or his gradual reintroduction into the Napoli team when he came off the bench yesterday for Napoli in their 2-1 away loss to Genoa. So he's been getting game time, little game time, match after match, as they try to nurse him back to full fitness. And coach of the team, Gerardo Gattuso, has spoken highly of how important he is to the success of the team going forward. Wilfred Ndidi is set to return back to action. He's missed for about 2 or 3 weeks now since he limped up in that tie against Brighton. I mean, he's set to limped up in that tie against Everton. They are to play Brighton in the 5th round of the FA Cup on Wednesday. So manager Brendan Rodgers has said he will definitely be part of that team. So good to know that he's back from injury. Ojo Ighalo recently joined Al Shabaab of Saudi Arabia, and he says he's there for glory, and he has spoken glowingly about his time at United. Said if he had been offered a new contract with improved contract and assurance of game time, he would have loved to stay back at United. Well, then among the goals of not many Nigerian players scored over the weekend, but the few that scored, we have Peter Olanyika, who plays for Slavia Prague in the Czech League. He scored in his team's 3-3 draw with Peterborough and that goal was his 10th goal of this campaign. So Peter Olayinka doing very well in the Czech Republic with Slavia Prague. Another Nigerian that was on the score sheet was Olerewaju Kayode, who plays for Sivasspor in the Turkish league. They trashed Ankara Goku 4-1, and he scored one of the goals in that match. So Olerewaju Kayode, former Flying Eagles striker, former Super Eagles player, because he has played for the Nigerian national team, is back to scoring ways. This is a much we have for you on the Super Eagles Watch, and also what we have for you, the much we have for you on the program Grand Sports Center. I must tell you that I've enjoyed every part of it, being part of this show, bringing it to you right here from the studios of Grand Sport Extra channel. We shall be returning tomorrow, same time, same station, God willing, with another interesting edition of the program. Before we go, I want to thank Blessing Bassi for doing justice to the topics we discussed today.
It was a pleasure.
And my name is Donald Agbavobo. On behalf of both of us and the entire production crew, who have always done a marvelous job behind the scene, enjoy the rest of the day.